Hello, you're watching TechTazed, the most normal place on the internet, with the exception of all the evil mad science. So, continue watching this video to find out what's on my hand. Or else. So, what is this evil looking contraption of mad science that I have on my hand? Well, if you guessed Wolverine, you'd be wrong. If anything, this is closer to Iron Man, because this here baby is a control glove. What I have done is I've taken these pieces of finger armor, which I got off eBay for about $7 each, tied a piece of fishing string around them, and bolted it right into a joystick. This was salvaged from an RC car remote. I ran the joystick into an Arduino board, this one's the Mega, and then into the computer. This is the code and this is the serial monitor. Whenever I flex the finger, the numbers go up. Now this signal can be used to control many things, not just numbers on a screen. It can control servo motors, or in our case, 225 pound force linear actuators. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm still gotta show you off the glove, because it has not just one joint, it has two, and it did not go unutilized. Over here you see on the multimeter, whenever I flex my finger right here, the resistance goes up. This is not the potentiometer, because if you look, I can leave the potentiometer on 0 while simultaneously doing this. Now, how did I do this? Well, inside the finger I put a flex sensitive resistor I got from also eBay. This other was Garage Lab. They also have these on SparkFun. All I need to do is add a voltage divider and I can run this into the Arduino board as well. So now I can control two joints with one finger completely independently. Alright, now before I get into the part where I tell you why I made this, let's take just a few minutes to look closer at how it was constructed. Alright, first let's start out with the evil finger itself. I bought one of these off eBay, an iron rever, whatever you want to call that, claw. Now, while these are sold with the intention of them being used for costumes, show off to your friends, stab your friends. Now, audience, don't stab your friends. You know, just a cool little trinket. They are pretty well built, actually. You know, sound construction. The blade actually comes very sharp and seems to hold an edge, but that's not why I bought the one with the blade. I bought the one with the blade because of the hole. The hole allowed me, as you can see in this one, which is labeled flex sensor embedded, to tie the piece of fishing string, which then is attached to this bolt. In the final version, which this is the final version except for this one little modification and not using one of these cleaning gloves, I plan on, replacing this with some stainless steel cable to ensure that it holds up better and just a little bit higher quality. Besides this, which is hardly a modification, you'll notice that there's been a bit more done to this. In this one, the inside is pretty much just plain and normal, if you call this normal. Now it is all steel, or actually I think this is some type of tin. I really have no idea. And that's pretty much it. What I did on this one, I drilled 2 little holes, ran one of these little double female headers through it, and while inside of this, soldered these 2 wires to a flex sensor. This flex sensor is from Garage Lab, and they look like this. When you bend them, the resistance changes. The one in here doesn't look anything like that currently. Well, maybe a little, but no, wrong finger. It's covered with this piece of black stuff. Now this is actually a piece of heat shrink tubing, which I slid over there and heated up with a lighter, and it shrunk around it. That's just to give it another layer of protection as this slides in and out right here. The copper wire bits right here hold it straight. I drilled these 2 holes, pushed the wire through, folded it over, put little dabs of solder on that, and now it's hold straight. And I've been pretty impressed with the performance. Now when this actually is in the suit, this knife is going to be cut off about right here. I mean, inside here it's going to be almost immobile, so, well, the whole hand, that is. So the knife is going to be effectively pointless, and it'll just get in the way, possibly cut something up. Now, I third one of these for the thumb. This one still needs a bit of work. I effectively just took out the joint. It's a little bit uncomfortable. Yeah, I cut off this piece of metal because it was jabbing into my finger, and now it wants to slip. So I'm gonna have to add another piece back, work a few more modifications, and then this one will be good to go as well. For the actual glove, it's currently just a latex cleaning glove. Hopefully I'll replace one of these or a leather one or a slightly thicker rubber glove. Can't be too thick though, or else the fingers they either won't slide in or just won't flex well. On top of this, I've screwed down this piece of sheet metal. This one just came from a busted fan, or the blade of it, and I just cut out with a pair of tin snips and shaped it with a hammer. On it, I mounted this joystick. The bolt will just slide right in there, and when you flex your finger, it pulls that forward. No spring inside returns it. I soldered on these little headers so I could hook it to the Arduino, get a readout, and that's pretty much it on this. A whole part of this is going to be redone, because I'm going to, on the final one, use these 3 fingers, the pointer, the middle, and the thumb. And this action is going to be for spreading the fingers. 2. The 3rd finger is going to be immobile because this is a 3-fingered hand. Now we're talking about hands and controllers and all that, but what's all this for? Well, I'm glad you asked. Now, the meaning for all of this can be summarized by one word. MaRRVE. The manned and remote robotic Vehicular Exoskeleton. TechTazed viewers, this is the reason for this channel. To describe what MaRRVE is, I'll show you our science fair project, RJ and I's. And by the way, we won! Alright, here you'll see an actuator mount. This is the old design. New design is this. This one can hold 2 actuators, can conveniently house the electronics inside, hex hose so that way you can lock the nuts. Right there for the main data and power connection, the actuators and the next finger joint connect through these, and just for fun, on the side right here TechTazed Industries, part number 0001, 2015. Yep, we're actually going to keep putting that on our parts throughout MaRRVE. Yeah, the reason I put 0001 is because this one's going to be official, hopefully. So the fails don't count. And right here you can see MaRRVE's muscles. These 225 pound force linear actuators. These are electric and are controlled with Arduinos. This is a Nano. Goes into this motor driver. And right here, for demonstration purposes, we have it hooked to a HC SR04 sonar. This is an ultrasonic sensor which sends out a ping, listens for an echo, and according to this code, if it's below 15 centimeters, the distance between your hand and the sensor, well, now, in MaRRVE, these aren't going to be controlled with these ultrasonic sonars. They're going to be controlled with this. Because this, my friends, is one finger. Actually, there are going to be 2 of these on the base of each finger. Now, as you might have supposed from that, it's not going to be as form-fitting as some very popular exoskeletons in modern fiction, i.e. the classic. Yeah. That was silent right there because of copyright. But, you know, you've actually been watching this project much longer than you've known. All those plate casting videos in the past, and the guns versus aluminum, those were all determining how thick we need to make MaRRVE's hull. Because while this isn't strictly for combat scenarios, it's still something that's nice to know. We only had time to test it against the 22, the 9mm, and the 38 Special in the videos in the past, mainly because that was the deadline of the science fair. However, we've got a little more rough with these plates.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Oh, that, my friends, was a 7mm Magnum. As you can see, it's a lot bigger than anything that we've shot at it so far. Now, what were the results? Well, as you can see, all the other bullets were just fine. The plate resisted them, and this is the thinner plate. However, And this is the sick plate. Yep, that's not gonna hold water. However, it's not so much this that worries me. It's the fact that this also penetrated. This is a 223. Very common round. But, as I said before, this is not strictly for a combat scenario. And, just on a side note, if you had a bulletproof vest on underneath, you'd probably be fine. Now, what is MaRRVE for? Say, you have a construction job, and you know, you had to be in, like, say, almost like a closet type area, or just, not a closet, just literally any place where you can't get a land excavator, or forklift only goes up. You need to move around 800 pounds, just like this. MaRRVE. You have a disaster relief scenario. Someone's stuck in the rubble. You aren't going to go bringing another, as I said before, like a land excavator in there and just pulling that stuff up. You might hurt the person underneath. This is a very practical thing. To save lives. Not by taking out terrorists, but saving lives nonetheless. And that, combined with a wee little bit of awesome, are the reasons that we are building MaRRVE. I'll join TechTazed on this endeavor. I'll be honest with you, it's gonna be a long one, because unlike Tony Stark, I'm not a billionaire. I do part-time heating and air. Minimum wage. And I said part-time. But the videos that you'll see, the updates, they're going to be detailed, exciting, electrifying, and just overall awesome. So, if you want to know what this channel is about, MaRRVE. I just know there's still going to be other videos on this channel, science related of course. In a couple of days you should see an update video, which this is just all the stuff we've been doing the past 3 months that didn't make it onto this one. But is it going to be our main focus? And in the end, we'll have a mech suit out there saving lives. Now, you just tell me what's cooler than that.